We spend 8 to 12 hours, if not more sometimes, at work, and it's really hard to not bring the energy we experience at work back home. I've had clients tell me that they've had roommates and romantic partners complain about how negative they were, how low their mood was lately, and they could not take it anymore because they already had themselves too much on their plate that they did not need someone around them with such stressful and low vibes, so they would break up or they would move out of the apartment. Obviously that's really intense, and so here we can really see how stress and toxicity at the workplace can directly affect our personal life and our well-being and the well-being of those around us. Hi, Wafa here. I'm an ex-investment banker turned career and wellness coach, and on this channel I love talking about everything related to career, health and wellness, self-care, and burnout prevention. So if any of these topics sound good to you, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel for more. Being able to mentally log off from work doesn't seem complicated, but it's a real struggle because oftentimes people just leave the office or log off from their computer and then they think, okay, great, now I can transition back into my life. But oftentimes without acknowledging it or doing it on purpose, they bring the toxicity or the stress and the negative vibes from work into their personal life. Being able to disconnect and disengage from work takes more than just going to a party and dressing up and going somewhere else. It's an inner work. You have to be able to disengage in your head. And so in this video, I'll be sharing my go-to framework and tips that would allow you to do that in a healthy way so that when you do show up to a party or at the gym, you're finally ready to have fun, engage, be present, and relax. Okay, first thing you need to do to understand how to leave the day at the door is to understand your energy mix. Before I can share practical tips on how to set boundaries and transition out of work, or mentally log off if you prefer, we need to understand why is it that some people struggle to leave the day at the door and fully be present in the moment after work? And it's because of their energy levels. Bear with me, you'll understand what I mean in a few moments. Holistically speaking, I like to divide our energy levels in 4 main categories. First, we have physical energy. Second, emotional energy. Third, mental energy. And fourth, spiritual energy. Disclaimer, mental and emotional energy could be lumped together, but I like to split them just for clarity purposes. How well we recharge these energy levels directly affects how we show up as individuals and professionals at work and outside of work. So when we first show up to work, whether remotely or in real life, our energy levels may or may not be at 100%, likely not be at 100% because someone's life hygiene practices will determine the degree to which that person feels recharged when they show up at work. And then as they solve problems and exert themselves at work, mentally and physically and emotionally, their 4 battery levels fluctuate. They may be depleted when they make an effort, or they may be recharged when there's something exciting and insightful or inspiring or positively challenging to them that then boosts their energy mix. But if we've had a long day at work that depleted us on more than one level, so let's say that you were exhausted physically but also mentally because you've had a conflict at work, but also you're depleted emotionally because your workplace is toxic, guess what? You'll feel pretty drained, and chances are you will struggle to make decisions, to exert your willpower at the end of the day, or to feel any ounce of enthusiasm to engage in fun activities that you had planned to engaging in, like going to a birthday party, going to work out, going shopping, or studying and preparing for an MBA. You may think, well, it doesn't matter if I'm depleted or if I'm feeling recharged at the end of the day. Why is it that I'm struggling to forget about work and just be present in the moment at the end of the day? Well, that's because of the second point to take in mind, which is immersion. Behind those suits, we're just individuals and humans, and our senses are immersed 8 to 12, if not more, hours a day in an office or in a workspace if you're working remotely. So if your workplace rather tends to be a negative environment, then to be able to leave the day at the door, you need to be able to immerse yourself in another, more positive environment after work to be able to stop thinking about all the negativity at the workplace. It's up to you to choose that place. Just make sure that you go to a place where you really feel like there's uplifting vibes and you feel much better and you feel at ease and relaxed. Don't force yourself to book after work events or networking events if those places really trigger the same energies that you feel at work, because then No wonder you'll just keep, recycling the negative and stressful or toxic energies that you experience at work back into your evening. Not good. Third thing you need to know to be able to leave the day at the door and not bring any toxicity and stress into your personal life after work is reset. We need to press the reset button after a long day at work so that you can reset your energy levels. And so you literally need to press a reset button in your mind. And how do we do that? You set a clear intention to step out of work in your mind mentally and think about something else and absorb more positive vibes. If you don't do that, you will consciously choose to stay and keep the same energies that you've experienced at work all day and bring them with you no matter where you go. So even if you choose to go to a super uplifting and fun place, for example, a fun birthday party or your best friend's birthday party, you go there, you may put a smile on your face, but then as you interact with people, you will be drawn to think and talk about work again, and so nothing will change essentially. The place where you all will change, but not your mood, not your vibe, not your mind. So the decision first needs to come from within. If you struggle to press the reset button and move on, that may be because you're still not healed. You're still pretty much affected by something that happened at work. Before we can even go to that reset button, we need to first address how we're feeling. So here's a quick crash course on how to manage emotions. First of all, accept those emotions. Make a conscious choice to feel those emotions. Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling guilty? Are you feeling shameful? Are you feeling happy or proud? Whatever it is, let it all out. Ways you can let those emotions out is to obviously let them express, so you can scream, shout, cry, dance, move, throw something, do whatever it takes, but just let those emotions out. If you don't, you'll just bottle them up and it will be harder for you to move on to something else. Another way to let emotions out is to confide and open to a supportive group of people. It could be supportive and non-judgmental friends or family members, whatever. Open up to them. Step number 2 is to process your emotions. Understand what was behind that emotion. If you were hurt, what hurt you at work? If you were angry, what triggered your anger at work? Did somebody make a comment? Did someone turn down, your promotion or didn't recognize you? What was it all about? You need to understand what triggered your emotions so that you can, make the necessary changes in your life and know how to act next time. Which leads us to step number 3, which is derive the lessons. Every emotion is a messenger that is here to teach us something about us and about people around you and the world around us. So what are you supposed to learn from that emotion? Make good note of it, because it's once you have finally accepted that message that you'll feel at peace and you'll be able to move on. And so speaking of moving on, once you've managed and processed and derived the lessons from your emotions, you're finally ready to let go. Press the reset button and set a clear intention that you're now ready to not think about what happened at work or about work in general, and you can focus on something else. Here's an example of activities you can do after work to help you reset. I recommend putting our phone on airplane mode, even just for 30 minutes while you read a book or work out or take a bath. One of my go-tos is to shower. It just helps me cleanse all the energy and the gunk from the day and feel refreshed. Another thing I like to do is to obviously change clothes. Another idea is to consume content that makes you feel interested and happy. That could be listening to music, watch videos, or watch your series, or a documentary, or listen to a podcast. Here's a bonus tip that will help you feel recharged and rested the next day and not feel like you didn't have time off, you didn't have space for yourself. Once you're finally present and anchored into the moment, you've taken a shower, you've done something that made you feel refreshed and finally not in work mode anymore, it's important to leverage that time off you have after a long day at work to really recharge your batteries and rest so that you can feel energized the next day. That's the whole point. Otherwise, might as well just stay at work, isn't it? Your biggest priority here is to really just acknowledge the energy levels that I mentioned earlier in this video that were lower than usual and focus on recharging those specifically. So for example, if you felt exhausted physically, then it might be a good idea to take a bath or to stretch or work out. And if you felt down emotionally because you may have had a lot of stress, a lot of pressure lately because you were wrapping up a deal or a client's deadline, then you can focus on spending a quiet evening at home with just candles, calming music, and not necessarily go to a loud place busting with music. Here you have it for this video. So if you understand all the tips that I shared in this video and apply them, you'll find it easier to finally disconnect from work, because oftentimes what keeps us at work when we're not at work is rehashing the emotions that we've experienced at work, is to still stay in situations where we have the same energy and the same surroundings that what we experienced at work. But if you change clothes, take a shower, go work out, move your body, listen to something that makes you happy, process your emotions, do all of these things, you will be able to transition out of the workplace in a more healthy way than just pretending to not think about work, and then when you're at a party or you start not listening to what the person is saying to you, and then you start thinking about work and you just pretend to be present, but in the back of your mind you're still thinking about work. So I really hope this helps you. Let me know in the comments which tip was the most helpful to you, and if there is something else that does help you, leave the day at the door and be in the present moment and live your best life after work. I would be really curious to hear about it, so let me know in the comment down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like it if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel. It really supports me, makes me feel happy, and gives me fuel to keep shooting and recording videos. And stay tuned for next week's video. Bye!